So excited. Man, 5 months of just grueling work. Where's the hat? Oh, here's my hat. I just did my hair. So, like if I put a hat on, it totally messes up the hair. So for the whole day. So, maybe when it dries, I can put my hat on. But for now, here's my hat. It's right here. Always got a hat next to me. Yeah, so thank you very much, everyone, for joining. I saw a few of you said that you weren't able to join, watch the whole thing live, but you were gonna, you wanted to thank me for Foundation 6, and you're excited to get it. So thank you very much. For those of you that have already purchased Foundation 6, it is really awesome. It definitely is a new way of designing websites. All the various I've posted this morning on the Realback forums as well as Weaver Space. And I detailed out, it's quite a long post about all the, not all, I mean, there's so many new things. The entire thing is new, essentially. And, but I kind of highlighted a lot of the main key new features. And we'll all do a brief overview of all of those points today. And yeah, hopefully everyone is enjoying it. So thanks. Let me just say hey to everybody that's here. We got Jack and Matthias and man, a lot of the Grant. How's it going from down under? Larry and Robert, Ron, thanks for coming in. I just love technology now in 2019, how we can, I can start presenting and we got people from all over the world, from Australia to Germany to New Zealand to the US to the UK, just all over the place. And it is absolutely amazing. So, and unfortunately, we do have Mr. LePan in the house. That's unfortunate, but, we all still love you, Brian. So Justin, thank you for coming. I know you guys, hopefully you guys have watched the previous 2 weeks live streams. I'm not going to go into detail of all of that stuff. And what I'm going to do today is, so at the beginning, I'm kind of going to talk a little bit about, the philosophy behind Foundation 6, why I feel you should upgrade, or buy new if you don't have it yet. And, over modulating a bit. Oh, am I a bit hot? Here, let me move the mic a little bit. Okay. Sweet. Okay. Is that a little bit better? The mic? Okay. I'll move it a little bit further away. Hopefully that helps out. Instead of me trying to muck around with all the settings here. I guess I can set a max. Okay. Is that a little bit better, guys? A little bit better on the sound? Cool. Thank you. So Foundation 6, what is new about it? What makes it special, right? So obviously the first thing that it does is it uses Zurb Foundation. And actually here, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we're going to kind of look at some of this stuff. Because I think it would kind of be fun to look at some of this to kind of see the roots of the Foundation 6 stacks, right? And so let me let me go ahead and get the Zurb website or the Foundation website up. Foundation, the framework, has a new website that I'm actually responsible for now. It is get.foundation. So it has it's one of those funky TLDs. There is a .foundation domain name, top level domain now. So it's pretty cool. So let me go ahead. I'm not sharing my screen. 1 second. I need to make this smaller. There we go. Okay. Whoop. Okay. So here we go. This is Get.Foundation, right? This is the open source framework that all of the stacks are based off of. And this framework actually there's two parts of this framework. There's the sites and emails, right? Because there's Foundation for sites and Foundation for emails. And if any of you own my email stacks, well, guess what? The email stacks are based off of. They're based off the Foundation for emails framework. So right now we're going to look at Foundation for sites because this is exactly what it's built off of, right? It is the second largest web framework in the world. It is used by over 300,000 developers across the world. Like, that's a lot of developers. And it's used by huge companies such as Apple, Adobe, Disney. I think on the bottom of this page, I think there's like a little graphic. I think it was on the homepage of just all the huge companies that use foundation. And the reason they use it is because it's fast, it's modern, it's still compatible with things like IE. Hopefully one day we'll be able to kill it. But right now, still supporting IE, right? IE 11. So it's still around. We still got to support it. So, yep, Foundation 6 totally works with that. But if we dive into the docs here, I'm gonna dive into one page. Okay. It's the page here called the kitchen sink. I actually linked to it in the in my forum posts, and this just gives you just a quick overview of all of the components that are a part of Foundation 6. Right. So we have obviously all the form stuff. We have accordions and accordion menus and badges and breadcrumbs and buttons and callouts and close buttons, and there's a lot of stuff here, right? And it's one thing that's great is it's super fast, it's super clean, it's all baked into the theme, so you can use as much of this as you want, and you get it all, and it's super small too, which we'll dive into it a little bit as well later on. Now, one thing I should note is that we're not limited. Foundation doesn't just pull the stacks, don't just pull from this framework. There are some like basic elements that we need for web design that aren't necessarily in the Foundation framework, but Foundation Stacks includes them for you. Such things as, video and audio, and there's things like description or definition lists. We have descriptions, detailed lists, a bunch of other stuff. And there's a bunch of like form fields that, are just kind of nice to have, like a date picker and stuff like that. So, yeah, the Foundation Stacks basically build on top of this. And it has, of course, all things like site styles, which are completely unique unto itself, which is, an amazing part of Foundation. So, yeah, so this is the roots of where all the stacks are, right? It is this powerful framework. It's version 6.5.3. This is the version that ships with this version of Foundation right now, the Foundation Stacks. Okay. Funny enough, I'm also leading the Foundation open source project, and next week we're releasing version 6.6 of the framework. And look out for probably Foundation 6.1 stacks will ship with that version of the open source framework. So pretty cool there. Okay. So what's next up, right? Okay, cool. It's built on this really powerful, really cool framework. What else is great about Foundation 6? Well, one thing is it is fast, right? It is going to be super quick in 3 different aspects, or maybe 4 different aspects, depending on if you want to combine a couple of them. So the first part is a completely streamlined. Oops, hold on a second. There we go. I'm trying to open up Let me open up RapidWeaver really quick. Okay. Oops, this window is really big. Let me shrink it down a little bit. Okay. Make sure we're all copacetic here. Make it as big as possible. There we go. Okay. So Foundation 6 is really built for speed. Like, I worked, before I wrote any code, I analyzed for a very, very long time on how in the heck am I going to make Foundation 6 fast. And I worked really closely with Isaiah to, get some best practices and get some recommendations from him on how we can make things inside RapidWeaver faster, right? And there are some things coming in future updates to stacks that will make Foundation 6 even faster. But I think we've pretty much squeezed out as much performance as we can right now with this current version. And it's pretty awesome. So you should notice that RapidWeaver itself, when you're moving stacks around, the edit mode will be a lot faster. Preview is much faster as well. So previewing your pages should be pretty darn fast, right? So if we could just go ahead and make a small little change here. I don't want to change too much because we're going to be rebuilding this entire page in a little bit. But let's just go ahead and here, let me go ahead and change this background. There, we'll just do that really quick. Oops, I didn't want to. preview inside RapidWeaver, you see just making a simple change to the page, which causes the entire page to be re-rendered. It's still really fast. Like it's pretty much instantaneous, right? So really, really cool. And that's all done because of a couple different things, right? First off, so preview and edit mode are faster, okay? And that has a lot to do with how Foundation 6 is completely modular now, right? If you'll notice, there are a lot of child stacks. Swatches are a huge part of that. I'm definitely going to be using swatches today as we build this particular web page out. But yeah, swatches are a huge component of it because I now have access to all of these settings here. Instead of, let's say a particular stack has a background setting. And let's say, I want background and border changing on a stack. Now, I could add background settings to all 90 foundation stacks. I could do that, right? That way you could just add backgrounds directly to each one. But what's the drawback of that, right? That means that the background settings are in Foundation 6 and the swatch are pretty complex, right? We can do swatches, we can do colors, we can do images, we can do warehouse images, we can do custom CSS, right? There's a lot of options, right here in these settings. And I could have gone ahead and added all of those settings directly into every single stack. But what does that do, right? Why is that not a great thing? Well, that's not a great thing for two reasons. First off, it adds a lot of settings to every single stack, which means when Stacks needs to process every single page to preview it, it needs to go to every stack, process every setting, generate the codes based off that setting, right? So by not having all those settings in a million stacks on the page, it makes RapidWeaver faster. Okay, that's important. But swatches gives us a way to still have those background settings, but in a central place. And then I can easily assign those to whatever stack I want simply by using a class, right? And we'll see that as I build this out. I'm not going to demo that right now. We'll see it as I start building out this web page, right? But that is a huge benefit of why Foundation 6 is faster inside RapidWeaver. Is big part because of swatches. Another bit is because it's kind of broken up into multiple smaller stacks, so stacks can do better at caching and stuff like that, right? So that's really, really cool. And what we'll notice is that we can now do, there are a lot less settings. If you go to every single stack inside Foundation 6, you'll notice that there is just not a lot of settings in every stack, but they're the right settings. They're the settings that we need, okay? And this classes field that's in every single Foundation stack is going to be the key to why it's powerful, because this classes field allows us to assign one or as many swatches as we want, okay? And what's powerful is what you'll see is now when I change a swatch, I can apply changes to like multiple components on the page with just a single swatch. Okay. So yeah, speed is really good. Next up, we'll see that the code that the code that the stacks produce is super clean as well. You will not be able to distinguish a website built with Foundation 6 stacks from a hand-coded website. I mean, the code is that clean. It is extremely beautiful. Like I take a lot of pride in that. And you'll notice, a lot of people had, in Google PageSpeed, there starts to be a lot of question in terms of, there's an alert in PageSpeed now where it's how many DOM nodes are on your page. And Foundation 6 reduces the amount of HTML on the page by up to 70% or possibly more, depending on obviously how you design your site, right? So a huge reduction in the HTML size, which is browsers and Google PageSpeed are going to love that. Next up is accessibility. Accessibility is a big thing in the world today because we need to make sure that our websites are accessible by everybody, by deaf people, by blind people, by, anyone that has, that needs accessible and uses accessible browsers or screen readers, I should say. So Foundation 6 does all the hard work for you, especially in forms, and we'll look at some of that detail a little bit today. But just be aware that accessibility, I paid a lot of attention to that, especially with forms. Forms are very critical to accessibility because people in screen readers need to know what the field is, what exactly data should they input, and stuff like that. So the forms are really important for that. And I've added a ton of accessibility features baked directly into the forms. Okay, I'm not going to dive in. There's a ton of other features. We have great forms. There's a lot of really cool column stuff where you can auto center stuff. And we're going to see that as I start building out this web page. So let's look at this web page that we're about to rebuild right now, to kind of look at what it is, right? It's a pretty simple web page, but it's pretty slick, right? We'll notice that at the top here, we kind of have a hero header. I didn't want to make it full page because I think that's kind of overplayed now. That's just my opinion. Brian says the new F6 page isn't up yet, it seems. Here, it looks like it's up. You can go to weaverspace.com/foundation. And here we go. There it is. Here's the link. This is the video is currently this live stream actually that we're watching right now. I will have a general overview video. Hopefully I'll try to finish editing that today. Here's a list of all the kind of the features, screenshots, obviously, tutorials, which is the tutorials right now are just the live streams. I have more videos coming soon, hopefully next week. We have FAQs. The demo site, which is going to be foundationstacks.com, is still under development. I'll be honest, I haven't even started it yet. I was just worried on getting on, the actual code for Foundation done and shipped to you guys. So over holidays, I'm going to start working on redoing foundationstacks.com, all with Foundation 6. It'll have examples and demos for every single stack. So not sure exactly what page you guys are looking for to get 0404, but yeah, if we go to the main stacks page, it should be showing up right here, Foundation 6, and it's working for me. So Google is not currently your friend. Not sure which URL Google is serving, but this page has always been the same exact URL. Cool. Okay. So back to this website design. Here I have a hero header at the top. We have a menu. If you notice, one of the very most requested features of Foundation 1 was the ability to have an icon within our menu item. So if you see here, I now have a menu with an icon right dead smack in the middle, which is what a lot of people really enjoy this type of menu, right? We scroll down, we just have a couple. I mean, this is just a really simple website. As you notice, I added some animation so things animate as they come in onto the page. We have kind of a card layout. Here's a different section page that has, different section on the site that has a different background color, and this contact form page or contact form. And then down here at the bottom, we have a footer, right? And so what's important is also on mobile. Oh wait, this isn't a browser. Let me preview this on the browser so I can kind of make it smaller. So if we look on the mobile device, what's different? Let me move this. Let me shrink that so we can focus on this. So here, if you'll notice, I removed the icon, right? Because it was kind of making the menu on mobile scrunch up a little bit. So I wanted to just kind of show it, have what I needed there. Maybe I could show the icon down here or something like that. Here we just have simple layouts. As you see, those still animate on the page as we scroll down. Here we'll see this 3-column layout. We have the ability to center kind of the orphaned things when they break, right? So before, like it would always be left aligned or right aligned, but now we can kind of center things as they break into columns. So we can kind of that's a nice feature. Here we have, if we notice this particular one in this layout, this image went from the right column to the top, right? So we'll see how easy that is to do now in Foundation 6 so that we can kind of get a different ordering and defining the order in which columns are on mobile and on desktop and whatnot. And then we see down here on our footer, we've changed things around. So those lists of links are now horizontal instead of vertical, because it just works a little bit better on mobile that way, right? If these were all vertical lists, I mean, this footer would go extra long because it would just take up too much space. And so we didn't really need that. So we kind of just made these lists vertical, right? Horizontal. So let's go ahead. We're going to rebuild this page right now. Let's go ahead and bring up my project back again. What I can do is I'm going to create a new page on this project. Let's just create a new stacks page, and we're going to start rebuilding it. I'll reference the other pages if I need to remember how or why I did particular things, but I'm going to try my best to just recreate this page on the fly as we go. Okay. So site styles. So we need to start off with the site style stack. Let's just leave it at that really quick. Actually, you know, to save us a little bit of time, to save us some time, what I can do is I'm going to copy this site styles, okay? Just to make sure that it's just makes it look a little bit simpler. Okay, because this site styles, I did tweak some of the colors, right? So I tweaked the primary color here to be kind of a purple color. I tweaked the overlay color here. Other things that I did that aren't necessarily apparent is the black color okay, let me explain what the black color does. So inside site styles, we have white, light gray, medium gray, dark gray, and black. And those are the colors that are used by all of the various foundation components throughout the site. So like, let's say we're in a tab, and the tabs have like a little border around them, right? The color, obviously that has a color defined within the theme. Well, now we can customize those colors, right? And they're all these shades of white and black. And this particular site, if you remember the preview, it was kind of had like a purplish tint to it, right? It was kind of went for a purple blue sort of hint. And if we look at this black, what I do is, if we look at these RGB sliders, is it's actually a very, very, very dark shade of purple. Okay. You can't, if it's by itself, you probably wouldn't notice that it's not black. But the small details like that just are really, really important. It allows us to really make things, really custom to our look. And the same thing for the white, right? If we look at the white, it's just slightly off white, right? So that it's not an actual like super bright white. So it just gives us a little bit of customizability within these colors. So you can have, if your site was a tint of blue, you could make all of your grays kind of a bluish tint of gray, right? And everything would really look nice and would really pop. So that's a good little tip there. We'll notice here that I have Font Awesome and utility classes loaded. So these are really great because if I don't want to load, actually, I don't even need Font Awesome 4 in this particular project file because I'm not using it. But I'm using this project file for my demo videos, so I kind of needed that. We're going to look at these swatches as I build them out. Okay, so let's go ahead and start building out our the banner. Okay, so we're going to start off with a container, and the container will contain a one column. And then that one column is going to contain a header, right? So let's say I have a banner, okay? If we look at this banner swatch, I created a background color or a background image, right? That contains this galaxy image here. You'll notice here. So I have a background swatch. And what I did is I assigned that to be the class of banner, okay? And you'll see a couple other things. So I also have an overlay that has a class of banner. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do something crazy. We're gonna rebuild all of this. Okay. It might not be exact to what we want, but I'm gonna go ahead and rebuild all of this. Okay. So I want this container to be my banner. I'm gonna call it banner. Okay. And I want to have a background image. So I already have some images that I used here. Let me find these images. This one. Okay. So I'm going to drag and drop that image into the banner. Okay. So I now have a swatch that has a class of banner, and I added a background image into it. I'm going to go ahead and add that banner class into this container here. So I'm going to say banner. And voila. If you notice there, all I did is type the word banner into the settings for this container. Okay. And it added that background for us. Really cool. Okay. Now now we have a one column here. And then what we want to do is I want to add a header stack into there. And we're going to say, welcome to Foundation 6. Okay, there we go. So if you notice here, the text in welcome to Foundation 6 is obviously dark, and that is horrible. We need to make it better. So what we want to do is inside site styles, I have alternate text colors. So I know by default, alternate is kind of like light colors compared to darker colors for default. Okay. So on this container stack, I'm just going to go into the class field. Okay. And I'm going to do a space and alt. Oh, someone asked, did you miss selecting a theme? Okay. Good call. Thank you, Blair. So inside themes, there is a Foundation 6 theme. Okay. And if you like, what I do is I right click on Foundation 6 and I say make default. So whenever I create a new RapidWeaver project, it defaults to be the Foundation 6 theme. So good question there. If you are working with right to left languages, you might want to select the right to left theme. So if you're working with Arabic or any other right to left language, you'll want that because then everything will be flipped, right? So, but for right now, obviously we want to use Foundation 6, and I recommend you right click and make it your default so that any new project that you have automatically gets assigned the Foundation theme. And the Foundation 6 stacks only work in the Foundation 6 theme. And yes, the theme is version 6.05. Inside Foundation, the stacks in the theme will always be the same version now. So just to keep things simple, there is zero confusion about what version is this and what version is that. The stacks in the theme will always be the same version, which is currently 6.0.5. Okay, sweet. Okay, so back to this. So I set my container to have alternate text colors, which is white. Now I also want to center this text. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to the one column stack, and I'm going to go into the content alignment settings and set that to be centered. Okay. Let's just preview this really quick. Okay. Well, it's really small, so we're going to have to make the banner bigger. Let's do that. Okay. So on this container, I need to add actually, I'm going to do it on the column. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new height container, and let's call this banner dash content. Why not? Okay. So I'm assigning this the class of banner dash content. I'm then going to go to a simple height, and let's just do 66% browser. Okay. And then I need to go into my one column stack, and I go to the custom classes and I say banner dash content. Boom. And there you go. You'll see that it actually centers it right now, or makes it that height. Okay. Now, right now, the content is actually aligned to the top, right? But we want this header to be in the middle. So how do we do that? So to do that, it's really simple. Inside the one column stack, we go and we say vertical align middle. Okay. So now that content is vertically aligned to the middle. And if I notice this header, actually, I want it to be in H1. It's default H3. So now it's a little bit bigger. Okay. Cool. So we're getting there. Now this is pretty decent, but I'd like to make my text larger. And then I would also, it's also not great to read the text directly on top of the image. It just doesn't look right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an overlay in between. I want to add something in between the image and the text to kind of give it a little bit of separation. Okay. So the way we do that is we're going to use an overlay swatch. And what overlays are for, they're in order to put something behind the content, like basically to kind of separate the background from the content. It gives you an overlay, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to set this to be, I'm going to use, so by default, you can set a color, right? And you can change this color to be whatever you like, okay? But another thing you can do is you can pick a swatch color, which is all the colors from up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the overlay color. And there we go. So I'm setting the overlay to be the overlay color. Actually, you know what? I want it to be the black color. And let's do like 50%, something like that. Okay. And then what I need to do is I need to assign this class to be the banner class. Okay. So there we go. I set that to be banner. So now when I preview this, we'll notice that there is now a separation. It made that entire image a little bit darker because I put a 50% black overlay on top of it, right? Now that was maybe a little much, maybe not 50%. Maybe we could change that, tweak that a little bit. We want it a little bit lighter, like maybe 30%. That's pretty good. Okay. Now I'm still not 100% happy. We need to make this text bigger. And how can we do that? So I'm actually going to use, I want to show that we can integrate third-party stacks into swatches. And I'm going to use a stack right now called FitText. And FitText version 2 was released a couple weeks ago quietly. I didn't even really announce it to a lot of fanfare. Hopefully I will maybe after the holidays or something like that. But if you already had FitText, it was a free update to you. And the part of the update, it contained a swatch for Foundation 6, which is really, really cool. And what we could do is we could define a minimum and maximum size. So let's see, I wanted to be a minimum of 60 and a maximum of 90. Okay. And I'm going to apply this. I want to apply this to the header. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do banner dash, I'll call it banner dash title. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this header and I'm going to assign all of that swatch to this stack. Okay. I'm going to preview this on the browser just so we can see. And if we look, what FitText does is it tries to make the text as large as possible in order to fit that container. Right? Pretty cool. So FitText is really good. You can define a minimum and maximum value. That's really slick. So while that's cool, I think it could still use more separation. Like it's just not right. It just looks kind of blah and flat, right? So what else can we do? I think we can add a shadow to it, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a shadow swatch. And let's increase the blur a little bit. We'll do 10. And I'm going to apply this straight to our title. Banner dash title. Okay. So now when we preview that, boom. Like if you notice, like, do you see the difference there? Like it goes from being flat to just popping a little bit, right? It's not like an exuberant drop shadow. It kind of just blends in with the background, but just adding that drop shadow to the text really makes it pop. And I'm really happy with that. Cool. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with that header for right now. Let's move on to other content. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna add some content below this, and we're gonna use a container. And inside that was a 2-column stack. And just for rapidness sake, I'm gonna go ahead and instead of adding in all these, you know what? I should do it from scratch so you guys can see it how it's all done. Okay, I have a 2-column and some text. We're going to go ahead and add some text there, and I need to add a picture into the second column. Okay. In this one we had, let me open up the images. I think we had this astronaut here. Boom. Now, ultimately, what I do is, I'd make sure I have a Retina version of the image and probably create mobile versions of the image as well. And I'm just going to be lazy right now and only supply one image. But really what you should be doing, you should be going in here and supplying mobile versions of the image and all that jazz. So the proper version of the image is served up for the device you need. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is let's preview that really quick. Okay, that's cool. We need to add some separation though between the header and the second column, and also need to add a little bit of kind of gutter to this 2-column stack. So I'm going to go into this 2-column here, and we're just going to add all the margins and all the padding. Why not? Okay, and let's do that. And that adds a little bit. I think that I like that the spacing here, but we need to add more vertical spacing. And what we'll notice is I want to make sure that the vertical spacing between this content section and this content section will be the same as this content section and the content section below it, and so on and so forth. We want to make sure that the spacing is equal on our websites, right? So what we're going to do is here, just to show this, I'm going to build out the one below it really quick. So we're going to add a 3-column. I need another container. Oops, I need a container first. So I'm going to add another container. And we're going to add a 3-column into that. And then what I did is I had, actually, you know what I'm going to cheat a little bit because actually I use this. So I'm going to use a card layout because this second section had cards in it, right? So what I did is I'm going to have a card layout. And I'm going to extract that. And there's my 3-column card layout. Really cool. Okay. What I do is I'm going to take this and this and this. We're going to copy those. And I'm going to paste them straight into site styles. Okay, there we go. So now I no longer need this swatches stack. Boom. Okay. Oh, interesting. Hold on one second. I guess I did need this one. We'll just keep that really quick. We'll keep all 3. Why not? Okay. So I'm going to delete that. So now I have all my card styles that came with the swatch. Inside site styles. I could keep that swatches stack separate if I wanted. And to keep things just a little bit clean, I'm going to take that 3-column stack out of that group that was created by the template. And here's my layout. Okay, let's look at this really quick. So there's my layout. I have 3 cards. Let's go ahead and swap out the images here. So there are cool spaceman stuff. Since we're doing it, let's do it right. So we have, let's do that. On this one, we have there. And this one, we got this cool guy right here. Boom. Okay. Let's preview that. Okay. So here we go. Looking pretty cool. Okay. But again, we need to make sure that we can have separate or equal spacing across all of our items here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a particular class to each of these sections. Okay. Or what I'm going to do is actually, this is what I'm going to do. Okay. I don't want to go down to an accessibility hole here, but this container stack allows us to supply what HTML tag we want. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a section. Okay. So I'm going to go HTML tag section. Okay. And then I'm going to go to this one and do the same thing. Make that a section as well. Cool. And if we wanted, what I could do is this one up here, this container that contained our header, I'm actually going to go ahead and make this a header. Okay. Now this has nothing to do with like the head of the web page that has your CSS and styles. This is header. It means this is the header of my website. right? So this helps from accessibility standpoint, as well as it helps Google actually as well parse your page better. Is it says, hey, this is the header on my website. Okay. We can actually, if we wanted to encapsulate all of our content, our main content, into a container, call it main. That's our quote unquote main content. And then inside there, you can have sections. Okay. I do plan on doing a full blown series of videos on accessibility. I think that would be really, really beneficial because there's a lot of things like that that are going to be really powerful. Okay. So now that I added this as a section, okay, I made both of these container sections. Let's go ahead and I'm going to add a padding swatch. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to I'm going to switch things up, and over here, instead of assigning, now what I could do is I could create a class, and then I could add the class to all of my containers, and then I could apply the same padding to all those classes. But I want to show you guys just something a little bit different. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to CSS selector, this last section. And while you can do really complex CSS in here, we're just going to do a really simple one. Now, remember how I made those two containers sections, okay? I could just type section in here. And what this is going to do is this padding is going to be applied to every single section on the page. Okay, so in this case, I'm only going to be using the sections to divide up my various sections on the page. So this will work out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to detailed padding, and I'm going to do top and bottom. I'm going to do 48 top and 48 bottom. Okay, and I'm going to leave left and right at 0. And if you notice, actually inside here, it already added the padding for us. And if we preview the page, we'll see that we now have much nicer spacing. Now, something to be aware of is that if we look here, this is 48 pixels, and on the bottom we have 48 pixels, but we also have 48 pixels from this one. So in total, there's 96 pixels different here. So what can I do to kind of like make this one a little bit different? Now I'm gonna show you something really quick that is probably gonna blow your mind a little bit. And because I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole of explaining it. But there are a bunch of inside site styles. You can add something called utility classes, and there are pre-baked classes that you can use inside Foundation to make your job a little bit easier. And all of those classes are fully documented inside this classes helper stack. So there's a lot in there, like a lot. I will be doing a video on all these classes as well. But right now, I'm going to use one of these classes, and I'm going to go into here, and I want to have, there's a pre-baked classes for tons of padding. And what I can do is I can do PT, which is padding top, colon 96. And what that does is it makes the padding on the top 96 pixels. It will override the 48. Okay, so let's preview that. And we'll see now that I now have 96 pixels here, and this is 48 and 48, which is 96, right? So we now have equal spacing across all of our sections, which is really cool. Because this one at the top is just a one-off, right? And, I could have created a swatch just for this one case, but really we have these utility classes that are really useful, and they're really easy to learn once you do learn them. And they're kind of easy to remember. So hopefully PT colon 96 gets us padding top 96 pixels. Okay. And if you notice, the numbers are all pre-baked in this Foundation 6 sizing chart. Okay. You can't just use any number. It is numbers all based on this Foundation 6 spacing chart. Okay. So there we go. We're getting close. We had a section below this container. I'm just going to copy and paste this, and but it was different, right? We had a picture on the right and text on the left. Okay, but something different, because if you remember, this particular layout, while on desktop it looked like this, it didn't oops. Well, I need to do some mobile sizing. If you look here, when I went to mobile, none of these columns or anything like that are responsive, right? And they just all stick to what I had it originally set. So we're going to have to work on that. So actually, let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So here inside this 2 column, okay, let's look at these sizing settings. So on small, I want it to be 100% width. So I'm going to go ahead and say 100. Okay. And then on small column 2, I want that to be 100 as well. If you look, and when we set that, you'll see that, boom, that's what our layout is. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set medium to be auto. And I'm going to set medium to be auto here. Now, I could go ahead and I could set to be medium 6. It's kind of like the same thing, right? Basically, when you set a column to be auto, it'll auto size itself. So which means if there's 2 columns, it'll make them evenly spaced out. Okay. So on small, I want 100 and 100. On medium, I want auto, and then large will inherit from medium. Okay. If we go to the 3 column, let's go ahead and I wanted, actually I want on small, I actually want it to be 50%. I don't want it to be 100% because I don't want 3 cards on top of each other on mobile. I think it's just going to, I don't need that much space. So I'm going to make them 50% on, column 2 is going to be 50% as well. Column 3 is going to be 50% as well. Okay. And then on medium, we're going to do auto still. Okay. Let's preview this and see how that's looking. So here we have our, this layout here we have on mobile. It works good. Now this layout here, if we notice, we have 3 cards, but this 3rd card doesn't really look great. Like off on the left, there's just this empty space over here, which like is just dying for another card or something. And you're like, what am I going to do? Well, what if we can center this card, right? So let's go ahead and if we go to the 3 column stack and we go all the way down here, we have horizontal alignment, which is the default is left. So I'm going to go ahead and switch that to be centered. Okay. And let's preview the page again. And voila, we now have a centered layout. So we have 3, it's a 3 column, but it goes from 2 to 1. But this one that goes off on its own is centered, which makes it look a little bit nicer and more presentable. Okay. Now let's look at this, this particular layout down here. What I wanted was, let's go ahead and do, we wanted small 12 and auto for medium. Okay. So here, if we notice, I get this kind of the same layout that I would have up there where the left column goes above. I wanted the opposite though. And so how do we do that? Okay. So in order to do that, we actually don't use the column stacks. The column stacks are great for just really easy default layouts. And if we need more power, we need to go into something called Grid Pro. And actually, funny enough, there's actually a template already created to do exactly what we want. So if we go to column swap. So here, there is a template called column swap, and I'm going to add this. And let's go ahead and extract that. And what that does is that already has the Grid Pro set up exactly what we need. And let's just preview this with the default image. And if we'll notice, we have the image over here on the right. But when we go to mobile, the image actually goes above the content. Okay. So, I mean, we could just not even look at the settings and just say, thanks, Joe, you did that template for me. I don't need to worry about it. Let's go ahead and fix this image though, because we want it to be all cool and spacey. Sweet. Okay. So let's look at Grid Pro. Okay. What we'll notice is actually the spacing on this layout is different than the spacing on this layout. So we're going to have to go into this Grid Pro and check out all the same spacing alignment options so that we get the same. Awesome. Okay. So inside Grid Pro, what we'll notice is in Grid Pro, columns they're always on top of each other inside edit mode. Okay. So I know that, and by default, you want it to be the layout that you want on mobile. So on mobile, I wanted my image above my text. So I have 2 grid cells, and we can add a grid cell just via this plus button at the bottom. So you can add as many columns inside Grid Pro as you want. Now inside grid cell, this is obviously Grid Pro. This is Pro columns. Okay. We have the same sizing options as we would inside the normal column stack. So we could set 12 to 1 to. There's also shrink to content, which is a really powerful feature, which will shrink the column to the size of the content. Okay. And then if you really want advanced sizing, this is where the power users will go ahead and, to your heart's content, you can make something a static width, you can make it a percent width. You have different percents on different sizes, and you can even provide the breakpoints and all kinds of crazy stuff. I recommend if you unless you absolutely have to, don't use the advanced settings. They're there to use if we need to, but yeah, I think the simple settings are really great even in Grid Pro. Okay, so we're gonna do 100%. We want it full width on small, auto on mobile, and we are on medium, and then we want the same thing on column 2. Okay, but how do we do the ordering? So if we look in here, there is settings for ordering, and what I have here is I have the default of column 1. I'm in column 1 that contains the image right now. So on small, I want it to be default. Just use the default layout. But then on medium, what I do is I set a number. So I set it to be 1. And basically, if we look at column 2, it's set to be default on everything. So essentially think of default as being 0. Okay. And so because on this first column has a higher number on medium and large, it will go below the other content, right? So it'll easily swap and reposition itself. And inside these numbers, you can use 1 through 6, and based on your layouts, you can really modify which columns are in what order when they are used, right, on various devices. So it's really cool, really powerful. But if that just completely hurt your brain, just remember that this column swap template exists, and you just have to drag it to your page, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. So there we go. So Grant, yes, if you saw inside your grid cell, you can do all advanced settings, and you can do percentage widths or pixel widths or viewport widths as well. Okay. Okay. So really powerful there. And obviously those settings are on each individual column. So every column can be its own size. Cool. What was next? Next was the footer, right? Oh no, I had a contact form. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to copy and paste this container. I'm going to delete that Grid Pro. And just for simplicity's sake, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a pre-baked contact form that we have. Here's a contact form template. I'm going to drag and drop that in there. Oh, you know what? I don't need that. That's why this was off. There we go. Okay. Okay. So there we go. We have our header. We have a 2-column here, 3 columns, a 2-column that kind of morphs. We have our contact form. Maybe we'll add a little header to the contact form. Here, let's extract the contact form. So above here, we'll just add a contact us. There we go. And then below this, we had our footer. So let's go ahead and add a footer below that. And I'm going to make this container actually be a footer stack. So over here in the HTML tag for this container, I'm going to set it to be footer because I want to tell screen readers as well as browsers or Google search engines that this is the footer of the web page. So I have footer in there, and what I want to do is I'm going to add a 4-column stack. And we're really low on time. I am going to cheat here. Really don't want to, but No, I'm not going to cheat. Let's not cheat. Okay. I do have a 4-column stack. And in here, if we notice, we had some menu items. Okay. And so over in this column, I had an SVG stack. So an SVG that had like a little astronaut guy. I'm going to open up icon jar really quick. I hate when icon jar does not open up my libraries. What the heck? What? Okay, whatever. I'll just copy and paste the SVG from the other page. All right, here it is. All right. So here we had some SVG code that contains this little astronaut dude. Unfortunately, it doesn't preview too well for some reason. And the SVG code that I got for this little astronaut guy doesn't have any height or width settings. So that's why inside the this SVG class, I just defined a height and width of 48. Okay. Via those, these are more of those utility classes that ship with the utility classes in site styles. And then let me just copy this. I'm going to copy that. Oh, actually, I used Grid Pro here. I forget why I used Grid Pro. Oh, because of ordering. Oh, yes. This was clever. Okay. I forgot about that. We'll build this out. Hold on. Let me just go ahead. I'm going to copy this text just because it saved me a little bit of time here. Just adding some regular stuff out here. Okay. Okay. So inside here, let's go ahead and do that. So what you might not realize is those links that were in the footer were actually a menu stack. And it's pretty cool because if we look at this menu setting, what I've done here is I said on horizontal, I want it to be a horizontal menu on mobile, but then when we go to medium, I'm going to switch it to be a vertical menu, right? Pretty slick. Okay. So, oops. So let's just go ahead and I'm going to copy these over. Can I drag and drop? Oh, I can. Cool. There we go. So let's look at that. Obviously that's a lot of menus, but here, let's just go ahead and delete some of those. Just so they're kind of a variable length. There you go. And then if we let's preview this on in the browser. If you notice when I go to mobile, I gotta do the columns, right? So here we do small. We want it to be 12, 12, 12, 12. And then we want auto, 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 auto. You know, I'm thinking maybe I should change the default settings of the columns to be 12 and then auto. Seems like probably maybe a better default setting. Okay. So there we go. When we go to mobile, we'll see that here I have my my SVG with the content, and then we have our links. But what I wanted, if we look at the other page, actually, let's go look at the original design. This was the original design. if you notice what I did is I moved the icon to the bottom, right? And so what I did is I used that Grid Pro layout where I changed the source ordering of this guy from being up at the top to being down at the bottom. Okay. So that was a really clever trick. And here, let's go ahead and do that really quick. Actually, what I'll do is I'm just going to copy this and then I'll show you what it does. Drag that in. Preview that again. Make sure this works. There we go. Okay, so let's look at that. So here, if we look at the settings of this Grid Pro, we have our 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And column 1, what I did is I changed the source ordering to go from, on small, it's 5, which means I want it to be on the bottom. Okay. Medium, it's 1. Okay. And I think the source ordering of all the other ones is, well, the source ordering here is small is 1, medium is 2. So depending on the size, I guess I morph it a little bit on medium. I probably didn't need to set, actually, in hindsight, I probably didn't need to set the ordering on the other columns. I probably only needed to be set on this main column here. In fact, here, let's just test that out. I think if I just set all of this to be default, it will work. Nope. Didn't. Let's look at that again. Okay. So here on small we have 5. So it's a higher order. It's going to be higher up in the chain. Okay. And then on medium, I want it to be 1, which is going to be lower on the chain. Okay. And then here, I set the small to be 1, which is smaller than 5. So it's going to come after that. That's correct. And then on medium, it's 2, which is higher than column 1, which is 1. So it'll come after it. Okay. That's correct. Hopefully that didn't just totally confuse you, because I know saying it out loud, it doesn't make sense, but hopefully that these ordering are a lot simpler, because you don't need to worry about pushing and pulling and all that stuff. Yeah, I think you'll really start to get a hang of that after you start using it, which is pretty cool. Okay, what other things? I think we're getting really close to this page being done, but there are a couple other things. Like right now, this entire page is white. We need to add maybe like a section here and a section here, just to kind of break things up a little bit, right? So that's really simple. Here, what we can do is, what did I name it? Let me just do the same naming standards over here. I did section color. Okay, so section color. So I'm just gonna, for simplicity, I'm gonna take that. Let's add a new swatch in here called section color. So we have a class here called section-color. Okay. And what you'll notice is what it does is it uses the light gray color from the site styles. Blair, menu with icon. Yep, I haven't forgotten about that one. Thanks, Blair. Okay, so now we have a swatch called section color. And what I can do is I'm going to go to this container here because I want color on this one. So I'm going to say section-color. And that changes that. And I'm going to go down to here and do section-color. And voila, right? So now we have our section colors. So we're getting there. And again, what's really cool is if I ever wanted to change this section color, Okay. Um, I assigned it to this light gray color, right? So all I have to do is go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to make this light gray, kind of like a light blue, grayish blue. And if we look, it changed both sections to it for us. And if this were a partial, right? If site styles were in a partial, that change would be reflected across your entire site. I'll refresh there. There we go. The light gray looked better. There we go. Okay. So we're definitely getting there. I guess one thing we need, as Blair pointed out, was the menu with an icon, right? So how do we do that? Okay. So let's add a menu stack to the page. Where's the menus? Here. So we're going to add a menu stack, and what I wanted that menu above inside my container. Okay. So I'm just going to add in, we're going to create four menu items. And then I'm going to add in a menu drop zone. Okay. And we wanted that menu drop zone to be right dead smack in the middle. And we're going to use the same exact SVG that I used down here, actually. Sweet. And right now he's black. I'm going to change his fill to be white. There we go. Let's preview that really quick. So here we have our menu up at the top, and works, right? But it's a couple things, right? And it's not spaced out. Yeah, we need to do a little bit of work on it. So we actually want vertical align middle. It does do that by default, but I'm going to set vertical align to be middle so that all the menu items vertically align to the middle of this image. Okay. And I think that's all we need to set on the actual menu stack. Alignment, we would need to be, I think I use spaced. There we go. So we have menu spaced. Pretty cool, right? Now if you look here, it's this icon's touching right up at the top, right? So, and maybe we want our menu text to be a little bit larger. The reason it's larger is because I already had a style in here. So here, I'm going to delete this style really quick. Okay. So right now you'll see that these menu items are pretty tiny. Okay. So what we want to do is I'm going to add a font style to this page. Now, something I did skip over is I loaded 2 Google fonts in this project just to use supply some different fonts. So we have Oswald and Lotto from Google. The Oswald is assigned to all of our headers on the page, and Lotto is assigned as the page-wide default font. So here we go, font style. And let's say I want to have my menu to be 18 pixels. So I'm going to set that to be 18. We'll just set it to be 18 across all sizes. And instead of assigning a class here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to component, and I'm going to choose menu. Boom, menu. And what that does is that then increases the size, and you'll see it right here. It increases the size of the font inside the menu. Now, let's preview this really quick. What you'll notice is it actually increased the menu down here as well, because these are menus. So how can we restrict the size to just this main menu? Okay. Well, if we go back to this font style, when we chose here's my zoom tool. When we chose the menu component, we can choose a parent class. And this menu is inside of what? The banner, right? So I'm going to choose it to be the parent class of banner. So right now, this menu is inside of this container that has a class of banner inside of it, right? Remember, we added that way early on. So now this font style is only going to be applied to the menu that is inside the banner. Pretty cool. Okay. Now there's some other things like, let's say I wanted to add in maybe some sort of overlay with this banner, right? Or with this menu, right? One thing that I could do is let's just go ahead and add another container. Where's the container? Okay. And let's add the menu inside of there. And we're going to call this, I'm going to put a class on this called menu wrapper, just because this container is going to wrap our menu-wrapper. Okay. And we're going to apply some styles to this. So let's go ahead and add a background. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, we have our class. Remember in here, we were going to do menu-wrapper. And then I'm going to choose swatch color. And then we're going to choose the overlay. Okay, there we go. So now that container has a background color. And let's preview that really quick. So it has a background color, but it's still touching the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of padding around it. So let's go ahead and do some padding. And we're going to do, again, menu-wrapper. And we're just going to add the same padding around. Let's just do like 24 or something like that. Let's see how that looks. Okay, not too shabby. Now, if you notice here, this doesn't go to the edge. Oh, shoot, you're not seeing this. I'm so sorry. If you notice here, this isn't going to the edge. The menu isn't going to the edge here. Why is that? Well, it's because it's inside of this container. Okay. Because containers, the contents of a container will constrict itself to be the site width. So there's a couple things we could do inside this parent, the banner container. We could change the sizing from site width to be full width. So if we did that, let's see what that does for us. That pretty much does it for us, right? There are some other probably more complex solutions, but I think that's probably the simplest thing we could do is just set the parent container that contains this entire header to be full width, right? So then its contents will go the full width of the browser. Cool. Now, if you notice here, when we went to mobile, though, again, we hit that issue where this guy kind of shows up and you're like, right? What's going on there? So what I can do is I can go to the menu item that contains that SVG, and I'm going to put in a class. Again, these are one of those utility classes. I'm going to do hide-for-small-only. And when I do that, and we preview, we go down, you'll notice that the guy is now missing. He's gone on mobile, right? Now these menu items were a little bit larger than the previous ones, so they still break, but I think this looks a lot nicer. Now, another option that we could have done is there is a template for what's it called? Center logo. So I do have a template for center logo, and what that does is. Here, let's just actually do it really quick. What that does is, so you could have dropped that on the page to get what I just built, okay? And it does do one extra thing, okay, for us. And let's just go ahead and do that really quick. I'm going to just do a visibility stack above the menu. And I'm going to copy this SVG into there. I want it centered. Okay. Visibility, we want to show for small only. There we go. So I have a visibility stack that contains this SVG that we're going to show for small only. Okay. Oh, it's not centered for some reason. Maybe if we did, hold on, if I did container, move the SVG in there, and then use the visibility in container to be show for small only, content align centered. Sorry if I did that really fast. Oh, interesting. If I did. Oops. Huh. That's crazy. That's interesting. How did I do that in the template then? Let's just look at that really quick. Extract that. Add a visibility, show for small only. Oh, scale image. Wonder what the difference is between the one above here. Crazy sauce. Okay, so I'm going to drag that up there. Interesting. That's set to nav. That shouldn't really matter. We could set this to be a nav. Site width, overflow hidden, inherit. Is it something with this particular SVG that's funky? Delete that. Didn't need that either. Not sure. It must be something with funky with this SVG. Oh, I wonder if that. Oh, okay. Interesting. There it goes. Let's put that back inside of our container. There we go. I like that. I really like that kind of menu. It's really nice. Okay. I think that does it. Oh, some animation. I won't replicate all the same animations that I did in that project, but really, really simple to use. Similar to Foundation 1. So if we just do, let's say I want to animate in this text. So I can just drag it and animate in. Do that. We say we want to fade that in. Delay. Maybe we do a short delay. Speed is slow. Then a fun one is like if you were to animate two columns stuff in. If you put animate ins on each individual column content, okay, and what you do is you animate this one from the slide in left, and this one you want to slide in right. Okay, we'll do a short delay and a short delay. Let's preview that really quick. If you notice that, see how the two columns kind of just came together, really kind of cool. And like with this layout here, the three columns, what you could do is, let's just show you from this other page, because it's just choosing different animations and whatnot. Okay, here what we did is this one slides in from the right, the far column slides in from the left, and then the middle column slides in from the bottom, right? So when we scroll down on the page, we'll see that it kind of just whoop, right? Really slick, really good, nice looking. Oh, one thing I did in this, I totally forgot about that. Inside here is the original one. I added captions to these images. So let's see how to do that really easily. That's super easy to do. Okay, so here, this picture, I want to add a caption to the bottom. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna scroll down, and we're gonna find the caption stack. Where is it? Caption. There it is. Caption. If I add that there, all I have to do is add the picture inside, and then you can change the text to be whatever you like. And that's it. That's all you got to do to add a caption. A nice little caption to your image like that. It's pretty slick. Okay, Blair, after you assign a class to a swatch when choosing a custom class under HTML, could it be made as a drop-down or fly-out menu rather than typing? That would be nice. It's something I'm talking to Isaiah about, but not right now. It can't be made a drop-down or anything like that. You have to, we are going to have to come up with decent workflows for, organizing our swatches. So one thing I didn't review yet is eventually we're going to have lots of different swatches here. Okay. And so I will do a video on my suggestions for organizing swatches. And let me show you what you could do. Okay, right now. There's two different ways we can organize swatches right now. First is, actually, let me show you probably maybe the simpler way. Okay. There is a swatches stack that you can add to your page. Okay. And let's say I want to use this stack for all my banner, right? I could do banner swatches here, and I'll even put it as the title. And what I can do is I could take all of my banner related swatches and I can move them into here. Boom. Whoops. That was weird. Why did that do that? Oh, there it goes. Not sure what happened the first time. So there you go. So now I have a banner swatch, right? That I can hide this on my page. I could only include it on certain pages if I wanted, right? So we can now group our swatches with this stack. Let me show you another possibility. Okay, and you can have as many of these swatches on the page, and you can add stuff to here. You have access to all the swatches from here as well. Okay, let me undo all of that and show you another methodology. Okay, another methodology is if you add here, you'll notice if you own my free pen stack. Okay, I have a stack that's free. It's called Pen. If you add it into Site Styles, what's kind of cool is you can go ahead and take as many of these as you want. Let's add them inside this pen. Okay. So now I have this one giant pen that contains all my banner stuff, right? So I can go ahead and say banner styles. And in this pen, what I could do is I could just say, I can collapse it. Boop. There we go. Okay, so now I have a pen, and it contains, all of my banner styles. Oh, for some reason it got a little bit large. I'll have to look into that. I wonder if it's just that. Oh, no, that makes it a little bit better, but okay, I'll look into that. I hadn't noticed that before. I think it's just the size of the RapidWeaver window. But if you see here now that I have, all my banner styles are kind of organized within that pen, right? And I can show it again. Obviously, if I click away, it's kind of nice where, it still kind of hides them all. It's nice. If you want to fully collapse it, you can do that too. So pen could be a nice way to organize your swatches into kind of groups, and allows you to have more swatches in less area. Okay. One thing you should note that is inside site styles, you can show detailed site style palettes. Okay, that's inside the top. There's this checkbox, and that will make sure that will show everything, right? And right now, if you just click on a swatch, it should show you the details. However, if you notice when you're like dragging stuff around, sometimes it opens multiple of them at a time. That's another thing I'm kind of working with Isaiah on, is to make that selected state more predictable. But I think it's a pretty clever idea. Yeah, let's see. Any other questions? Can't wait for the click-by-click Foundation for Dummies tutorials. Yes. My goal for those videos are, I want to make them as short as possible, not hour-long things. I think that, sessions like today are very powerful as well, but having those just really quick, 2 to 5 minute videos about one particular niche thing will be really, really great. Does it affect the speed at all to position on the page? No, it doesn't matter where the swatches are on the page. It doesn't matter at all. You can have the swatches anywhere you want on the page, and you'll be good to go. Dana says everything about Foundation is totally baffling to me. Dana, I suggest you join us on Friday. Friday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific. We're gonna have my Friday Hangouts. And, it's a completely open discussion. You can ask me questions directly. Me and other members will be happy to help you out. So yeah, Dana, I would love to chat with you about that. Or go ahead and post if you have any questions on Weaver Space. Please go ahead and do that. That pretty much wraps it up for today. I went a little bit over again. But I hope you enjoy Foundation 6. It is available right now. Oops. Go ahead and head over to Weaver Space, and you can purchase it. The normal upgrade price is $79.95, which is 20% off, no matter when you purchased it. If you qualified for one of those special discounts, basically if you purchased Foundation 1 in 2019, then you get a special discount. And you should have got an email yesterday that told you how to get that discount. If you didn't, check your junk mail. It definitely got out to everyone that purchased this year. So if you still didn't get it, shoot me an email. I will get to you as soon as I can. Obviously during a big launch like this, I am getting hounded and bombarded with email. So thank you very much. I hope everyone has a great Turkey Day, a great Thanksgiving tomorrow for everyone in the US. Go and don't eat too much. Go out and splurge, but eat a lot, right? It's fun. I guess eating a lot is fun. Play around with Foundation 6. If you don't have anything else to do while you're sitting on the sofa full of turkey, break out your laptop and play around with Foundation 6, or watch the other live streams that I did the past couple weeks. And I can't wait to see what you think about it. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for all the love that I've gotten on Foundation 6 so far. Users have been really, really loving it. And I can't wait for all of you to start using it as well. So take care. Have a wonderful week. And we will see you soon. Oh, I guess I should say, for those of you that stayed on this long, I will be having a Black Friday sale. And the Black Friday sale will be for everyone that purchases Foundation 6. So if you buy Foundation 6, you then qualify for the Black Friday sale. So when you purchase Foundation 6, you will get an email with a special discount code where you will be able to get a discount on my entire site. That does not include Foundation 6. So you'll have to buy Foundation 6 at the normal upgrade or new price. Once you do that, you will get an email probably by tomorrow. Hopefully, I should have it set up by tomorrow with the special discount code that will let you purchase anything else you want in my store at a nice discount. So be on the lookout for that email. Again, that is only going to be for Foundation 6 users. So, I just want to give us an extra thank you for all of you that are purchasing Foundation 6 early. I appreciate you guys, and we will see you on Weaver Space. And take care. Have a wonderful week. Go out and make something great.